welcome in the UI guys. Let's welcome in the UI guys. Being overly meticulous with HUD. They'll rant and rave just to entertain for you and I.
Say hi to the UI guys.
All right there. Yes, it is us, the UI guys, and what the hell? Harax, did you change your...
No clue what you're talking about.
Okay, this is a Berenstein moment sort of situation, isn't it? Because I'm just like completely lost on this. I'm like looking at you from this side of the screen. I'm just like, bro, you definitely changed your... There's something different about you. Did you get a haircut?
No, you're Did you get taller? Did you lose some weight?
Yeah, you know.
Did you change your beard?
Have
you changed your beard, didn't you?
Have you been using that thing
Please.
people have been putting in their mouths to like get a stronger jaw? Have you been doing that?
I have my own tactic of getting a stronger jaw. But
No!
we're talking about UI today.
Ha ha!
Oh,
Bazinga!
Okay, all right. I'm not going to. It's obviously putting jerky in your mouth. Obviously, it goes with the whole harassment thing. He's just like
Lots of chewing gum. That's the secret.
lots of chewing gum. Sure. That's what she called it too. Anyways, because it's that small. Well, in sort of preparation for a lot of this, the thing that we're going to take a look at today, the UI we're going to take a look at today. By the way, for those, because the last time we had this segment, people were asking, they're like, Crane, what is UI? And UI actually stands for user interface. Now, it's pretty much the way that the game communicates with you. And they'd usually do that through graphics or, you know, a lot of these, you know, like, what do you call this? Well, essentially a lot of things that can tell you about the game. It's so funny because the last conversation I had with somebody was asking when I gave this explanation, they were just like, oh, so does Paimon from Genshin Impact like count as UI since it is giving you information? And I took a pause. I was just like, maybe, and maybe that can be one of our
Not
topics.
quite. Maybe. Well, yeah, we will have to discuss that at some point.
We
We
will.
should definitely talk about Genshin Impact UI.
Most
That'll be
definitely.
interesting. Yes.
All right, so this is the first one we're gonna take a look at. So if you guys can't see here, this is from what is this from?
This is from Forza Horizon 5.
Forza Horizon 5. Gotcha.
And what we're looking at here is your main menu screen, which includes multiple tabs. So they separate a lot of their information across different tabs along the top there. But the main menu itself consists of a world map and some options for your weekly tasks or your story adventure.
Interesting. Okay, so right off the bat, it looks like a website.
It does. It
Like-
does look like.
like this
it looks
looks-
like.
This looks like great format for social media.
If you can
social
shrink it
media,
down
or
here,
I would even say, yeah.
right?
Go ahead.
If you can shrink it down, I can actually just point out some of the information it tells you on the screen because there's some stuff along the top that's actually relevant.
Okay, so I can actually blow this up, put this all the way in the top right here. I can just put this all the way here to the top. And yeah, so run me through this. Like, what is going on here?
Okay. So from top left to top right, the things along the top of the board are my level, my name with my avatar, what class my car is, B, 700 is its allocation. If it goes to 701, it becomes an A class. So 700. What car I'm driving currently. And on the right, you have my current money, my CR. And that is supposed to be a bar that tracks the progress to the next story. But I already have it unlocked. I just didn't do it.
Okay, so question. I have many. On the lower, so there's a lot of unlike unlike the our last UI, which is we looked at Super Robot Wars 30. This one has a lot of negative space. It has a lot of, it just has a lot of emptiness to it. Which, well, by the way, I'm not against. I think it looks pretty sleek. I don't really mind the colors so much. I feel like the colors are. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like the colors are a little bit more picked because of theme. I think it's supposed to be more thematic of something. Is this sort of like the color combinations of the game? Does the game use a lot of these colors?
Well, the general theme of Forza Horizon is, hey, it's a car festival. This one's being hosted in wherever. And I think the colors of the festival are primarily this pink color and the light blue.
Okay. Is the light blue indication right there? Is it because you're sort of toggled on exit to desktop?
Actually, I'm toggled onto world map, which does make it bigger. So the reason the square in the middle is bigger is because I'm highlighted over it, and the purple or the pink ring around it indicates that.
Strange. Okay, so okay, because you need to give me some context on this. Does the world map look like that? But because right now you're telling me it's blown up, but does it look like that when you're not targeting it, when you're not toggled on it, or highlighting
well,
on it?
if I click it, it would open up, and I would be able to scan around it and stuff.
Okay, so all of these, so if in other words, before it was just, well, words, right? It looks exactly. It looks like. Does it look like that?
Asking.
Does it look like that? So I'm saying that the world map, when it's not being highlighted, does it look like that thing that says festival playlist?
I think so. I can't remember, but I think you are right in that. I just started playing it this week, so memory.
Okay. So does
of the menu.
So does it look? So it looks like festival playlist, and because you're highlighting
Yes.
it blows up, and it actually, the square actually changes graphic.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. I mean, I guess that's kind of that's a way to make it so that it's sort of a space saver. So I guess that kind of works. Does it all go into the center? So if you click world map, does it go into the center, or because
It does not.
Oh, so that means that world map was always that
Always in the center.
it was always in the center. So if I go click on Horizon Adventure, does it blow up? And then I can't see festival playlist anymore, or is it just?
Yeah, if you click on Horizon Adventure, it takes you to a completely different screen.
Okay. Okay. It says exit to desktop, so I'm guessing that I sort of got this right. It looks like a browser. Because it essentially is a browser, or what they're trying to do is they're just sort of trying to emulate like a smartphone app.
That's what I would assume. I would assume this is supposed to be like a tablet in the new Teslas.
Okay. Oh, okay. That, I guess that makes a little bit more sense. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. I still think that it inherently has a lot of problems. The design of it, I think, is kind of nice. I think that it's kind of nice. Now, there's a lot of things that you can see here. Although there's a lot of space, there's a lot of things that you can see here, and they're not very indicative of anything. For example, like, so you said that your name over there in the upper left, that's Haraxman, and that's supposed to be your level. Like, nobody, like, one look, you really wouldn't know if that's your level or not, right? Like, you really, like, I don't know. I don't understand what that is. It's also nice. Sorry, I'm like jumping around just because there's so much for me to see here. But there's not too many fonts, so that's good, because having too many fonts, this is a pain in the fucking ass. But yeah, when it comes to the numbers and stuff, I love how, see, when you have that part there that says CR, I don't understand necessarily like what that is, like what they're trying to do with this sort of. Yeah, I don't understand. Because with the credits, you have the thing that says credits, right? Like CR is at least indicative of credits. But then here, I don't understand why you can't do that with level. And I don't understand why you can't do that with this thing that says B. Like, I don't understand why that is.
If you knew how the classes worked, that B would make more sense.
Mm,
But I do completely agree with the level, at least. Like the level does not need to be displayed that way,
mm,
or it doesn't need to be bronze since I just hit level 100 in game.
mm. Oh, so that changes color.
Hmm.
Hmm. Interesting. Interesting.
And the B, if it became an A class, the A class color is red instead of orange.
Ah. Okay.
Mm.
Okay.
They have a lot of changing color things. So
Uh. All right. Luke, what do you think?
It definitely looks like a like travel brochure website. Like come visit beautiful Mexico. Um, and then it's very sort of like current age website design, or travel app or something of that nature. So everything's very readable. Um, but it does also feel very empty. Um, like
if
there is a lot of negative space in there.
if you want to see empty, you should see the other screen I provided you. This thing has nothing
Hmm.
on it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mhm. Like it's definitely information for as long as the player knows, then it's fine. But that's not necessarily like for the outside viewer.
Oh, let me repeat that because I was
It's
muted.
not
I
as
was
clear.
muted. I was saying that
Oh,
as I don't necessarily have a problem with not having a lot of UIs, especially if it's not needed. So if you look at a game like are you guys familiar with the game called Little Nightmares?
I think so.
Yes. Okay. It's sort of supposed to be like a very horror sort of Tim Burton style game, and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
in that game it has zero UI or yeah,
Hmm.
zero UI, and that's absolutely perfect for the game. Like if you showed me the UI
Right.
of that game and I saw that there was nothing in it, I'd be like, that is absolutely fucking perfect for it. Like that is the
Yeah.
best UI. But Mike,
You had
the thing that I said that people here weren't mentioning or didn't hear me say because I was muted, was that
right.
when it comes to this, there's a lot of info, but it's almost like I need info on the info. So
Uh,
go
I
on,
was gonna
continue.
say that it's very much true. Like if you asked me what festival playlist is, I'd be like, oh, that's something they explained to you earlier in the game. All of this
Hmm.
is like locked until playing the game unlocks it.
Which that's not a
So
bad
it's,
idea. Like I'm not against the
yeah,
idea of the game gating things from you because
yeah. Like the menu's not relevant. To actually learn about what that menu is.
yeah, I mean, that's one of the problems that I had. I know we're talking about Forza. This is supposed to be a racing game, but when I was playing a lot of MMORPGs, when I went on my sort of Steam run of all of the MMOs that
Hmm.
I could pretty much get my hands on, that was one of the big problems I had. You had like this big tutorial section, and then after the tutorial section, right after that, they're just like, okay, now you picked your color. Now you know a little bit about the story. You have a little bit of the prologue. You know what the story is. You pretty much we taught you how to play the game. Okay, bam, then everything fucking opens up. Like the screen goes bam, chat, and then you can read everybody's chat. Like everybody in the world server is there, and then all they're throwing items at you that you have no idea what is about. They have all of these screens that say crafting and gathering, and you don't even know. Like the only thing you learned was how to move and how to attack things and target and look up and
Hmm.
press Q for quest. I don't know, something like that. So I'm not against gating. I think that that's one of the things I like about Final Fantasy 14. See how we went there. Oh, by the way, speaking of Final Fantasy 14, if you guys, if my viewers here would like to spend some craneberries, go check out the craneberries. Check out the redeem section, and there's a couple of new redeems there. So and just feel free to use it. Feel free to use them. Anyways,
Oh,
but
I'm a look during
but
stream.
but
Heck yeah.
but Final Fantasy 14 does a great job of like gating things from you before you even know how to use them. So you'd actually have to unlock them. So if this game is doing that, then I'm all for it. I guess in that sense, it's not as bad as I thought it would be because if the only way to unlock those things The only way to unlock those things. Oh my god. Is my alert working? Happy birthday. It's supposed to be this one.
Happy birthday!
Okay, cool. There it is. There it is. It was just lagged a little bit. But if the game is actually gating you, then it gives you a little bit more information. Now, wait. Before I continue on that positive note, the negative note is this. The problem with this setup is that when you come back to the game, after a while, you're lost. Like, this is...
Yeah.
You are completely lost. I experienced that recently. I had to play Devil May Cry because, you know, like, I was going to shoot some stuff from it. And I came back halfway through because I saved halfway through the game. And I played it again. And I was just like, outside of me having, like, Genshin Impact hands for Devil May Cry, I know
that pain. I know that pain.
Yep. The problem I had was I was looking at the UI and I'm just like, what
That's our line.
the fuck is going on? Like, what on earth?
The fuck does any of this mean?
What does
I don't know.
any of this
I don't
mean?
know anything here.
Yeah, and that just like that completely ruins me. So
We come back to Forza and like, the fuck is a car? I don't what game? That's too much. I don't know what the fuck a car means.
what's a Subaru?
So Forza
Sparrow.
What's a
is very
Subaru?
much like that. Like 100%. If you came back to Forza after a while, you'd be like, "Oh, that's right. This isn't just a racing game. There's like weekly changing seasons. Is it a wet season? Is it a dry season? Are there going to be storms around? There's stuff to do in each season that will unlock better cars for you if you want to unlock them just by like percentage of the week done type stuff. It is packed. It is a racing game packed with mini games for racing.
Subaru.
And-
don't ask
Subaru.
don't ask for an outfit where she's a car, please.
No, she's just gonna be a giant pizza.
Oh, Subaru. Yes, Subaru.
Subaru. Hey, good. But I was watching Harax's stream, which is twitch.tv/Haraxment.
Oh, okay. Thank you for
And
letting us know.
hey, I'm gonna plug my buddy here. But one of the things that I found horrid about the UI in this game was he was trying to, he's an achievement hunter, and he was trying to find information on an achievement, and he was searching through menus for tens of minutes, trying to figure out where the counter was for this singular challenge, and it could not be found. He could not find it until he actually achieved it.
I was looking through the accolades button there because I thought if there's an achievement for smashing 500 of something, they would have a counter somewhere in the accolades. I couldn't find it. Turns out there was one once I reached the 500. It said, "Hey, you got unlocked an accolade." I was like, I couldn't find it. It existed.
Well, I mean, that's some of the problems too of the when you gate things, unless they're scrolling down. And you know me, I hate really scrolling down. But that's one of the good things about scrolling down is that if you have menus that are scrolling down and you add something into it, it's a pretty easy transition into it. But if you have like sort of these blocky things and you're always using them all the time, you know how your hands sort of have like a muscle memory to like where each part of the menu is supposed to be, and then they add one smack dab in the middle of somewhere, and your hands are just like, oh, that used to be where settings were, and now it's not, and now I'm fucked.
You
now I'm
know
always
what's
going to
really
somewhere else.
painful to that extent?
What?
4 of the options on the screen currently lead to scrolling pages. Festival scrolls, adventure scrolls, world map scrolls, and accolades all scroll.
Wow.
Oh, actually, going back to, because you were talking about like Genshin hands. Because one, I definitely suffered with that when I was playing both 14 and League of Legends at the same time. That was painful. I would hit all the wrong buttons for both games all the time. But going back to last Crane Freeze with Super Robot Wars 30, there's a very distinct command in Super Robot Wars 30 in the previous game, and stay with me here, SD Gundam G Generation Cross Race. There we go. They got to put in all their prefaces in there, but there's a distinct controller input and they're the same type of game. They have different mechanics and little intricacies here and there, but to zoom in and out on the map is handled
They're
differently.
the same type of... What? SD... What?
SD stands for super deformed, where they're all cute
Us.
and have fat heads.
Us trying to figure out the name of all these Gundam games.
Luckily,
I've
it's
got
only
it.
the
It's
first one that's been officially released.
you just strung a bunch of weeb words in
Uh-huh.
and
Yeah,
I got lost.
I'll just say Cross Rays. We'll call it Gundam Cross Rays.
Okay,
How's
Gundam
that?
Cross Rays. Okay,
That make more
sounds,
sense?
yes, thank you.
Gundam Cross Rays and Super Robot Wars.
You had
So,
me at race.
But okay, so you can zoom in and out on the battle map, but both games handle that very very differently. Where Super Robot Wars, you just do up and down on the right analog stick if you're using a controller. Makes sense.
Okay.
Not so in Cross Rays, their immediate previous game. You had to hold back or select, whatever your equivalent controller is, and then go back and up or down on the right analog stick. When it's really not needed, because the right analog stick doesn't do anything else except zoom in and out of the map. So it's really an unneeded command, which they did fix for Super Robot Wars. But I've noticed that in my stream when I did do a little bit of off-stream like Cross Rays, I was like, I'm not quite ready to go to bed. I'll go back into that game for a little bit because I'm saving the other game for the stream, and then I come back to Super Robot Wars. I'm like, oh no, I got Cross Rays hands now.
Yeah. Yep.
Even in just menu management strategy RPGs, it can happen.
Yep.
And it's frustrating as all hell.
And that is actually the reason why, by the way, that is actually one of the reasons why scrolling, especially for games that have controls, that use controllers, to me that is one of the advantages of having games that have scrolling menus, is because that it doesn't fuck with your muscle memory when a lot of that happens. It fucks with your muscle memory the least, I believe. But if, like, you remember the thing about Genshin hands, if you hold the L1 and then it brings up the menu and it's a circular menu and you have to press it, all of a sudden you do that and you're using the controller and you go to Final Fantasy 14 and you're absolutely fucked.
I hate Genshin's UI. I absolutely hate Genshin's UI.
Is there anything more you would like to ask or know about this UI?
No, I want to move on to this one. What the hell is this? Okay, so this is the one where this is you actually playing, like, right?
Oh yeah, this is me just entering game. The amount of UI you get, by the way, don't judge the graphics. I lowered it all the way down so it could run cleanly on stream.
Jeez, this guy's like, all right, like you don't need to be
It's
so
a
insecure, bro.
Very pretty
Like,
game.
we're not trying to judge you, bro. Like, he's like, by the way, that's not my actual resolution, guys.
You have
don't worry about it. It's a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger in my room.
You have 3 bits of information on the screen with a
it.
possible floor. And this is very simple. You have your speedometer on the bottom right, which I don't have I have a digital, not analog. You have a map on your bottom left, your mini map, and you have a little notification that popped up telling me that, hey, I disconnected because this game's broken right now. Really simple.
I think usually for me, I do like it when it's because I don't play racing games that I do like it when you have your little mini map sort of above. However, I do understand, because I also drive cars, is that for a lot of the racing games, they try their best to put a lot of their UI on the bottom because that's kind of sort of the quote unquote, what is this?
Dashboard?
The integration of sort of the dashboard, right? Where your dashboard is supposed to be your UI in real life. So I think that's kind of like what they're doing. Would you say that's fair?
I think that's completely accurate, because even if that was an analog speedometer, it would match it so well too, because it's rounded. There are a few bits of UI missing from this screenshot. I have 2 examples. One is when you're like smashing stuff, you get skill points, and that would pop up right about the same place as that notification up there.
Right about? Not, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, they don't normally pop up at the same time, is why.
Okay.
And the second bit of UI that's missing here is if you have a designated destination and you're speeding and a big turn is coming up, it'll give you red arrows and a line to follow around the corner.
Okay. Well, so, I think that's sort of part and parcel of these kinds of games anyways. So I think that's that's sort of fine. I think one problem that I have with this is, in fact, the Dynasty Warriors problem, right? The Dynasty
No,
Warriors.
it popped when you brought it up. Yeah, like the sort of event
Notifications.
queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think what it should be, it should be, it's fine if it pops up over there, because what they're trying to do is they're quote unquote they're trying to keep your eyes on the road. But I think it would be nice that if they did have something like a feed or a queue like on the lower right, that you can just sort of glance and know that that's what happened. I don't know how important that information is, but when it comes to big UI, or when it comes to games where a lot of the things that you're watching has like there's too much action, right? Like for example, Dynasty Warriors, or a racing game, obviously, because you have to pay attention to literally everything that's on screen. When it comes to something like that, a lot of these notifications can literally, well, I guess quite literally, fly in the face of your UI and then just disappear, and you have no idea what fucking happened. So I think they should have a queue. I think a lot of games have suffered from not implementing a queue like that, or implementing sort of like a feed.
I agree.
Yeah, so I think that's one of the bigger problems of this. I actually do, one thing that I have enjoyed with all of this is I do like the coloring because of the notification, because it's not really something that you would see just driving around unless there are flags or whatever. But I do think that it does a proper job of standing out. Another thing is another thing that's good about this is that you have everything's very sleek, and it's almost like the game wants you to see as they're trying their best not to impede your vision. And I think that's a pretty good way to go in terms of like all of this. So I mean, what any last thoughts on this, guys? I just wanted to put this out because there wasn't much to see, but of course, obviously, Crane has a lot to say because I can't shut the fuck up. But go ahead.
No, I think you hit a lot of good points. I'm really glad you brought up the sort of like event queue, because my brain went to the exact same place, because that's a huge problem in the Warriors games, where it's like, you gotta, like, sometimes you complete a level and you're sitting there for like 30-45 seconds waiting for characters to get through their dialogue so the level can actually end. Here it's less of an issue, because it's like, oh, you ran over a cactus, you got like a point, or oh, you hit a car, you got like a point. So it's not as big of a factor. It's not like character dialogue is like stacked waiting to happen. But yeah, definitely some sort of like, kind of like how we have Twitch chat over there, how where we do have just like this information feed, and if it doesn't update, it like fades from the screen. I think that would be like something like that.
I think that's one of the things that a lot of new UI is implementing now, is that when the characters are inactive or you're not doing anything that requires the information actually goes away. So I think that's really sleek. I think that's really I think that is a sort of design philosophy that games need to sort of move forward with, especially games that give you like a lot of Shadow Leaf here is mentioning it, but the more cinematic the games, the more you don't want it to impede your experience, because that would suck. I mean, there are plenty of memes all over the internet of actual cinematic scenes where they Photoshop like health bars and shit, and that's really funny. But in reality, in all practicality, that's a nair. We don't really want that. So
yeah.
I think one of my favorites that I've seen, a quick little segue, is it was from the Telltale's Batman game. And I saw a video of someone who put health bars on like the Batman Bane fight, even though it's just like cinematic and quick time events. I was like, this amuses me. This amuses me greatly.
I think it's funny because we talked about how little there is on this screen, and there's so little on the screen just by bringing up your overlays. It's almost all disappeared now.
I know, we
have more UI in your overlays than this game has.
Than the game itself. Which, you know what, is to its credit. Anyways, but yeah, that's it for the segment of UI, guys. But this is not the last for Forza.